All right. Let's see. I mean, I kind of doubt this is Westgate, given that the other hunt was right here, but this is an unexplored area, so let's check it out. Is that a black chocobo? That is not a black chocobo. That is a raptor. How's it going, Vino? Good to see you, man. So it's looking like nothing is here. Oh. Heck is black blood. Alright. How's it going, Daddy? How's the game frame rate? On my side, my frame rate is terrible. On your side is in what you're watching, or like your PS5? Or do you mean like your view of my channel on your PS5? Huh. I haven't had much issue. Did you pick frame rate, or did you pick the other thing? Whatever they call it in this game. Graphics. Because I've heard the game runs pretty poorly on graphics. But frame rate, it feels pretty good. I've seen a little bit of issue, but nothing major. Using frame rate mode and can't seem to get on 30. Wow. Huh. I can't imagine why that would be. I upgraded my hard drive, but I think it's about the same. Just bigger space, but that wouldn't really affect that anyways. That's just read and write speed. That's not gonna change your frame rate. That's only gonna change how long it takes to install things. So, I mean, other than that, my PS5 is the same PS5 as your PS5, so I have no idea why you'd be having so much issue. It's not dropping for me. Mine's been fine. I haven't seen my frame rate drop at all, with the exception of in some cutscenes. It seems to like lag for a second, or, you know, just not really be at a perfect 60. But running around and stuff, I haven't seen any issues. But maybe that's just, I'm not noticing it. So where would Westgate be? Because this is... I'll try going here. I'm guessing I can't go this way. It's funny. The one time it doesn't tell me exactly where to go, I actually can't figure out where to go. I think this would be Westgate. It says Rivergate, but I think this is Westgate. Unless one of these is called Westgate and I just didn't get close enough. Oh wait, I didn't go here. I don't think that would be Westgate though. West Watch? Over there. See what's over there. How's it going, Daniel? Really? You think this is 30?
Good day to you, Sid.
I mean, this looks good to me, but... Isn't that funny? But see, I like being lost. Because then I run into things like I just ran into that hunt.
You're quite talented with that rod of yours.
I kind of see what you mean now that I'm trying to pay attention to it more.
Word is, the Black Shields took a hiding.
This just all counts as Clairview. Look how little damage that does.
You're finished.
Yeah, that move is just not worth it. I was gonna say before, but I got distracted. I think the problem with this move is that it doesn't do its damage until you pop the proc. Even then it doesn't do that much, but the whole idea of like having to do this and then gap close doesn't make a lot of sense, because you might as well just gap close at that point. Like it just, what would be better is if I could attack an enemy, knock them away, and then like finish them with this. But the idea is you actually want to start with this and then gap close, which is just slow. And usually an enemy is just going to punish you. So yeah, I think it would have been better if it just did a bunch of damage instead. Also, that's a big enemy. I like big enemies. Now this move is more of what I like. Knock him away and then hit him with that for the finish. That works a lot better. I always try to hit an enemy with that when they jump away, but they always end up hitting me first. Had a really nice weekend. Oh, too early. Yeah, it all just kind of adds to my talking about how this game feels a bit half-baked. And I really don't mean that. I know people hear that and they think like, wow, he hates it. It's not what I mean, but there are definitely aspects here where I feel like they could have improved it and chose not to. You know what I mean? They could have gotten it to a hard 60 FPS. They could have gotten it to where if you're playing on graphics mode, your PS5 doesn't overheat. They could have gotten it to where the side quests were a bit more developed. They could have gotten it to where the equipment system was a bit more developed. They saw what they had and they said this'll sell, and they released it. That doesn't make it a bad game, but it definitely opens it up to some criticism. And criticize it, I shall. I have no idea where Westgate is. I'm gonna go here. I gotta remember this is the first PS5 only exclusive. What does that have anything to do with anything? It's the first PS5 exclusive, therefore it can suck.
Good day to you.
Like it cannot run at 60 FPS. You know, Nintendo 64 games run at 60
You're
FPS?
quite talented with that rod of yours.
I don't understand your logic. Yeah, the remake ran at 60 FPS on PS4. I mean, I think they they run at 60 FPS, but they don't display at 60 FPS. I'm just memeing, but you know what I mean. Back then it was more like 60 frames, but not each one was displayed. You know what I mean. Point is, it doesn't have an excuse. Is that it? No. It's just a dark.
This won't be easy.
You don't think the PS5 hardware is capable of rendering this game at 60 FPS? Seriously? You really think that?
Enough.
That's wild. It's not the PS5's fault, it's the game itself is not optimized correctly. If you were to port this to PC right now, it would still not run any better. In fact, it'd probably run worse because Square PC ports suck, but it is not the hardware's fault. Like, go play Elden Ring. Elden Ring looks just as good and the environments are way bigger, and it runs at a hard 60 FPS. I don't see how you could play Elden Ring and then say this game is so advanced that there's no way the PS5 could play it at 60 FPS.
Too many risks.
PS5 isn't even really pushed to its full capabilities yet. That was maybe a bit overkill.
Griffins don't exactly make for easy prey.
Aha!
Let's hope our craftsman hasn't bitten off more than he can chew.
I was right. Now this is the hardest hunt we've done so far. The other two were C's. This guy's probably not going to mess around.
Look sharp. All yours, Torgal. Awaken winds!
I just explained. The other two hunts I did were C's. This is a B. So it should be harder. Accidentally canceled my attack there, but well, I used my limit and wasn't even able to get him down to half health, so it's interesting. Seems like if you perfect dodge that, you don't have to jump over the shockwave. You get like iframes. But if you don't, then you get whacked by the shockwave. I shouldn't have done that. Also, I should use my limit. It's you pretty much always have your limit up for a stagger. That's how fast it comes back. That accessory that increases your limit gain is totally useless if you're saving it for staggers. It's almost always up. I should have tested there and not jumped to see if I took damage. But I wasn't sure if I got a perfect dodge or not, so I just jumped. Too early. What?
Farewell.
Big money. I'm telling you, after this quest, there's got to be something going on with the blacksmith, because I'm getting all this stuff and I can't use any of it.
Is something there, boy? Could that be our man?
Yeah, he looks like a master blacksmith.
Are you all right?
Now that is the face of someone that got attacked.
That griffin caught me before I could get an arrow off. Must have lost sight of me in the grass, though. I'd be dead if it hadn't.
More likely than not.
How's it going, pseudonym? Yes, it's still my first playthrough.
The name's Camille. I'm a lowly leather worker, if you couldn't tell by the smell of me.
Not so lowly from what I hear. Do you remember selling to a merchant by the name of Karen?
She's not an easy woman to forget. Bought a cuirass from me after I lost my buyer. Quite taken with my work, as far as I recall. Didn't stop her bartering me down to a pittance, though. She sent you for a refund?
It's not her who sent me.
How's it going, Greeko? Give me a second. This cutscene's over.
Well, consider me flattered.
You should be. He's a master of his art, and not an easy man to impress.
Blacksmiths are proud folk. It's a rare thing indeed for one to praise a glorified tanner. And I don't imagine an impressive swordsman like yourself would be getting your steel from any but the best. I'd dearly love to help a fellow craftsman, but... Well, actually, I suppose you could give him this.
What is it?
Treated leather. Same stuff I used to make that cuirass. If your man's as skilled as he sounds, he'll know what he's looking at.
You sure?
Well, you did save my life. And thanks to you, I'll be going home with all the griffin hide I can carry. I'd say it's the least I can do. Short of showing him how to make the thing myself, that is. But there are rules against it. Secrets of the trade and whatnot.
In that case, I'll see that he gets it.
I'd be much obliged if you would. Right, I've got some greaves to make. You send your blacksmith my regards.
Will do. And thank you.
So apparently we're just going to give him some treated leather, and that's going to solve his whole problem.
Sweeten Blackthorn's mood.
So I killed Ruby and Emerald or the other. Not really if you're just talking base game, but there's all sorts of things you can do to increase your enjoyment of 7 if you're willing to do a challenge run or play a mod. If you go to our site, sector48.org, I have a bunch of mods there that are super easy to install and can give you a completely new way to play the game. New Threat in particular is a really great one to start off with if you want to continue playing 7 but are done with your current file. But in terms of the actual vanilla game, unless you're challenging yourself via your own self-imposed challenge, there's not really much to do after Emerald and Ruby. That's pretty much it. I think some of the 7th Heaven stuff works for emulator, but I would just recommend buying the Steam version. It's extremely cheap. All the mods work way better on it. It looks way better, plays way better. There's no reason not to just get the Steam version. It's probably even on sale right now because Steam's doing their big summer sale. I don't know why I'm running. I could just leave. The mods on Sector 48, the ones that I created and also some of my community created, all work on the Steam version. I guess we could go do this for, we'll just go. Yeah, $6. Yeah, you will get so much out of just buying the Steam version than going and installing, like, New Threat. You will be pleasantly surprised at how great New Threat is.
And with a bit of luck, Clive might even find the geezer.
Bloody busybodies, the both of you.
How'd it go, Clive? Did you find him, or does the hunt continue?
I found him. And he asked me to give you this, along with his regards.
You're joking.
Yeah, graphics mode is pretty terrible. Like, I can visually see
He said he wouldn't teach you how to work it.
how bad graphics mode
But
is.
if you were as skilled as you sounded, you'd have no trouble understanding how it was done.
So that's his secret. Crafty bastard. He's layered and cross-grained it. Good few times, too. No wonder it's tough. And that's no ordinary oil he's used to get that finish. Oh, this is fine work. Even finer than I thought.
Yeah? I'll take your word for it. Just looks like leather to me. Still, I'm glad you're happy. Here, Clive. You didn't happen to catch the fella's name, did you?
Camille, I believe.
I thought as much. There ain't many leather workers in the realm daft enough to do their own hunting, see? And his name kept cropping up when I was asking around. Turns out he's from Tabor. And again, most leather workers are. But our friend Camille guards a long-held family secret, the details of which are the subject of some debate in the leather-working community.
Then we better keep this close to our chests.
Listen, sorry for putting the both of you to all that trouble. Should have kept my moaning to myself. Still, I'm glad you found him. This has cheered me right up.
That was the idea. Clive's idea, anyway. He did most of the work.
It's good to have you back, Blackthorn.
Just don't expect me to go turning out work like this. There's a reason he does his own hunting. He knows exactly what hides to look for. And that's how he gets them to layer up so nicely. And don't get me started on how much oiling this leather would need. But I reckon I can make something about as good. Something a Cursebreaker will have no trouble caring for. Anyway, enough narrowing. I've got work to be getting on with.
Looks like we won't be needing a new blacksmith.
As if there was a better one out there. Nah, it wouldn't have been the same anyway. No one spins a yarn like old Blackthorn in his cups. Right, now that's sorted, I've got duties to attend to. Thanks, Clive. You've given me my mate back.
He's got his spark back. Why is my controller always dying? I think the controller is actually dying. It's either that or my charge station isn't charging it all the way. But I don't really want to buy a new charging station because I don't really think that's the problem. So wait, did I just get a single recipe? I was hoping it kind of just like completely upgraded the Black Hammer. I guess we unlocked design drafts in general.
Clive? So, what'll it be?
Wow. 11 more HP. Let's go. They do make it very specific, like, do the hunt and then get the reward. But again, the rewards just aren't really that enticing. It's not like, oh, I want to go hunt this specific monster to get this specific thing because it fits my build or fits my abilities. It's just like, you get 30 more defense. This is kind of a big chunk of defense. But, and imagine if doing a specific hunt got you a belt that made your Phoenix ability do more damage or something, you know, because that's kind of where the builds come from, is your abilities. Why only have the accessories do that? Have an equipment that does that. Then it could really be cool.
And what do you need?
This is no... The thing is, too, this is no different than just having the reward from the hunt be the equipment. It's just one extra step. You know? You could just give me this for slaying the dragon. Instead, it's just one extra step. At least it's something to shoot for now, though, because for the past 10 hours, I haven't had a single change in equipment. I have not changed my equipment since that cutscene where we got these clothes, with the exception of one extra sword. Which is kind of sad. Welcome back, heroes. Oh, the gameplay is fine. It's the RPG elements. It's the gameplay loop that's missing. But hey, we got hunts. I'm happy. I'll just fight the hunts for the sake of fighting the hunts. I don't care what the reward is. Broken hilt. That's right. Wait. I think that was in Rosaria, right? Yeah. Up here. Yep, that's what I was saying last week. They made an action game and then they said, oh crap, it's a Final Fantasy game. We better put some RPG elements in. And that's just kind of how the whole game feels. And well, everyone knew it was an action game. They were very upfront with that, which is why I don't think it's that big of a deal, but I also know what the Final Fantasy community is like, so I know everyone's going to complain about that. I know there are threads upon threads of people complaining about that right now, because I just know how the Final Fantasy community is. So, like I said last week, it was a decision to either make those fans happy or make the game that they wanted to make, and they chose to make the game they wanted to make, so. It's up to you to decide if that's what you prefer or not. I mean, we talked about this last week, but Final Fantasy has always been a series that changes things every game. I really don't think that... And I mean, I used to be somebody that felt that way. I used to be somebody that felt like if it's not a turn-based RPG, it shouldn't be called Final Fantasy, but over the years, I've realized that Final Fantasy has always been this series that they try to innovate and do different things with. It's there, and it's like Mario. Like, they continue to call Mario games Mario, and they continue to use Mario. They just have them evolve with the way games are evolving. To be fair, they don't call Mario Odyssey Mario 6 or something. You know, it's not the same numbered thing, but... Final Fantasy has always been... Well, Legend of Zelda would probably be a better example than Mario, but... Yeah, Final Fantasy is more of a brand now. I mean, the fact that they called Final Fantasy XI and Final Fantasy XIV... you know, numbered, goes to show you that it's more of a brand and not a series that's always the same. But so even back Final Fantasy VII to Final Fantasy VIII, like, yeah, they're both turn-based RPGs, but the similarities dissolve there. So it's always been a series that tries new things and innovates and does different things, so if after playing 13, 14, and 15, you expected 16 to be a retro turn-based RPG, then you're out of your mind. You know what I mean? So, yes, part of me feels like, man, calling this game Final Fantasy XVI is a bit weird. At the same time, I completely understand it. And I don't think it's necessarily being, it's certainly not clickbait. They were very obvious in their marketing that it was an action game. They were very... It's not like they were, oh, it's going to be the new Final Fantasy game. What's it going to be? And then they released it and suddenly it was an action game. Like, everyone knew it was an action game. Everyone knew Yoshi P was working on it. Like, it was not a surprise. So I don't think it's fair to say they're trying to cheat people into buying it, thinking that it's Final Fantasy XII, and it's not. I don't think that's fair, because they were very blatant with their marketing about what this was, you know. We can complain all we want about the fact that it's called Final Fantasy XVI, but at the end of the day, they weren't cheating anyone. They weren't lying to anyone. They were very obvious with, this is an action game, it plays like an action game. And they even had a demo. I mean, they had a demo that lets you play the first 2 hours of the game. So, they were not trying to trick anyone, you know? And I think that's important to remember. Because a lot of people just think they're trying to dupe people into buying Game of Thrones. It's like, no, they were very... they were very fair, you know? Yes, some of the old guard, like myself, think that maybe calling it Final Fantasy XVI is a bit of a stretch. But I really don't think that's enough to be like, yeah, they screwed their fans. Like, no, they didn't screw anyone. They were very, very upfront with what it was. So, you know, I think that's a bit of an exaggeration to say, like, they literally, you know, were trying to fool us. I think if you have a problem with this game, it's less about it being Final Fantasy XVI and more about just Square Enix in general. You know what I mean? Which is fair, but yeah, I don't think it's necessarily this game that's the problem. I think it's probably just not into modern Square Enix in general. Yeah, I mean, if you quit after Final Fantasy X, then I don't... Like, here's the thing, and this might be a super hot take, okay? This might alienate my entire audience. You all might leave right now. Get your fingers on the X button, okay? Get your cursor over the X button. Get ready to close the stream, because this is super hot fire take coming in. But I think if you quit playing Final Fantasy at Final Fantasy X, you don't necessarily have an opinion as to whether or not this one should be called 16. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think you're the opinion that Square Enix is looking for if you quit at 10. If you quit at 10, then you like retro Final Fantasy, and that's great. And you have you have every right to play the pixel remasters and be like, these suck, or play them and be like, these are great. But I don't think you have the right to look at 16 and be like, this shouldn't be called Final Fantasy 16 if you haven't played a single one since 10. Super hot take, but obviously this is modern Final Fantasy, and obviously this isn't your cup of tea. Which again is fine, but that doesn't mean... I mean, at this point, You're just not you're not a modern Final Fantasy fan. That's it. You are not a modern Final Fantasy fan, which means your opinion doesn't matter to Square Enix when it comes to modern Final Fantasy. It doesn't. They don't care because you're not playing it anyways. What do they care what you think? They're trying to make the fans that are still here happy, right? Why would they? And that's something I said earlier, where like, why would they make Final Fantasy XVI? Why would they bend over backwards to make Final Fantasy XVI a good game for retro Final Fantasy fans if they haven't played one since 10? Why would they do that? You're not around, but you know what I mean? Why would they make it for you? You haven't bought a game since 10. Why would they bend over for you? Why would they be like, we should make sure to make it a turn-based RPG for that one guy that hasn't bought a Square Enix game since 2001? You know? Instead, they make games like the remake, where it fits for the modern game, but it bends over backwards for those that still love the original games by having just an insane amount of fan service and building up those past experiences and making them even better, and the, you know, keeping the lore for the most part intact with the original. That's the kind of stuff they make for their OG fans, but still keeping it modern so that they can still make money. But this game, why would they bend over backwards for people who since 2001 have just spammed every comment section of every video of any game that's past Final Fantasy X and go, this isn't Final Fantasy, this isn't the real, go back to the old games. Why would they make it for you? Because you're not going to buy it. Even if they did make it for you, you wouldn't buy it.
Nice try.
People just want everything for themselves, I guess. Is the real thing. A lot of people who claim to be retro Final Fantasy fans didn't buy the remake. So what makes you think they'd buy this game? You know? So why would they make it for you? Also, my first time dying. Let's see where it puts me. Wait, is this my first death? I think it is my first. Oh my god, put me all the way back here. Do I get my items back? That's a good question. Kind of want to see. I do get my items back. Okay. So it looks like game overs like time travel you back. I'd have to see if maybe you get like your experience and stuff from stuff you've killed too, or not, or if it literally teleports you back to before you ever went there. Yeah, it's just a shame because like whenever I bring up stuff like this, there's always the people that are like, you know, get mad because they think I don't appreciate old fans, but I do. I'm one of them. You know, I do 100% appreciate people that played till 10 and then quit. But I just think that you have to come to terms with the fact that Square Enix is no longer making games for you. And stop being so butthurt every time they make a game that makes money. Because it would just be a complete farce for them to, like, no one's buying Final Fantasy XVI if it's a pixel art game with a world map, you know? Like, there's no way. A couple people are, but that's not how you run a business. That's not how you make money. Instead, you make games like Octopath Traveler, you know, for those people. But you don't make your flagship franchise You don't go back in time just to make those couple people happy. The people happy who have been roasting you at the stake for the past 10 years. And that's what really frustrates me when I get comments, people that are like, screw Square Enix and fire Nomura and all this stuff. It's like, you think they're gonna make games for you? Like, being so negative and so awful to the company for 10 years, and now they're gonna be like, we'll make a game for you. Like, no, that's not how you get what you want, first of all. I feel like I'm talking to my 5-year-old. It's not how you get what you want. And, you know, second of all, it's a business. They got to do what's right for business. Now, my argument has always been what they need to do is make the ports of the old games better, because that's where those people are going to be spending their money. And they still have not made truly good ports of the old games. Instead, they do pixel remasters, which are their own thing, and then they do like 8 remastered, which was abhorrent. And there's still no remakes of 13. There's still, I mean, we got Zodiac Age, which is great, but still no collection of like 7, 8, 9. No collection of the old games. Like, that's the kind of thing that Square Enix needs to actually focus on to make those fans happy. And those fans will buy those, and they will spend a lot of money on those. And that's something that would actually be worth the time. Putting multi-million dollars into Final Fantasy XVI just to make those fans happy wouldn't be worth it. It has to be a game that can sell to the masses. But something like that, a remake, a remaster project, or a port project, a collection project, would be worth the money, would be worth the time. People would buy that, and people that are new to the series would buy that too. So that's the real thing that would make them happy and make money.
Why am I doing this?
Is 16 or 7 remake better? How do I answer that without completely dumpstering Final Fantasy XVI? Final Fantasy XVI is a great game. I love it. 7 Remake's one of the best games ever made, though. So 7 Remake. Wow, he hates 16. Officially. Please buy 7 Remake. Is 7 one of the best games ever made? I don't know. It's up there. It's an incredible game. The thing that always gets me about 7 is just how complete it was. It only got one update. At a time when every game was incomplete. Boom! I have no idea how much damage that did. I didn't see the damage number. I bought that specifically to do stagger damage. I didn't see how much it did.
Let's try.
I mean, dude, the remake was like a decade in the making. No. The remake was like a decade in the making and brought so many new people to Final Fantasy VII and its entire universe. And has some of the best music ever. And has... Those are enemies? I don't know, man. Final Fantasy VII Remake is one of the best PS4, PS5 games. That, for sure, I can say. Dude, people are going to be talking about One-Winged Angel remake for decades. The amount of, like, work put into that single song is truly astonishing. Oh, this is a good test, actually. Okay, so, confirmed. Stuff you do in between game overing and your last checkpoint permanently happens. If you game over, it doesn't reset. So my guess also is if you were to kill enemies and then game over, you would still get all that XP and gil and stuff. So it's a soft reset or whatever you want to call it. Which is not shocking at all. That's what how almost all modern games are. Alright. For real this time. I say as I get hit. Oh, I didn't know that was an attack. That was not what I meant to do. I was gonna try to do that, but I just mistimed it every time. How much damage does that do? I can't tell. It's too... The explosion is so big. It does a lot, whatever it is.
Nice try.
Dude, every time that third one gets me. Woo! That move is too slow sometimes. I end up getting punished. I almost had enough to do Judgment Bolt again, but I staggered him too quickly. Oh, wait! I got it! I don't know how much that does, but it's a lot. 8,000 gil.
Hope there aren't any more of them.
Wow, we just talk casually as he's still dying. That's hardcore.